He didn't panic. He didn't rush. He didn't run. After the body was buried, the ground smoothed, and the last trace erased, he stood there long enough to convince himself it was over. No witnesses. No cameras. No blood where it could be seen. If someone disappeared like this, the world usually forgot them. And for a while, that's exactly what happened. Police searched. They questioned everyone who mattered. They walked the land. They dug where logic told them to dig. And they found nothing. No body. No weapon. No proof that a crime had even occurred, which created a dangerous assumption. Because when there's no evidence of murder, people begin to believe there wasn't one. But something didn't agree with that conclusion. Something kept returning to the same patch of ground. Again. And again. And again. And because no one took that seriously at first, a killer nearly walked free forever. Before this became a crime story, it was something quieter. A woman who stopped answering her phone. Mary Jane Fonda lived alone in New York. She was older, independent, private. A retired nurse who had spent her life caring for others and now lived a routine that rarely changed. She wasn't reckless. She wasn't impulsive. She wasn't the kind of person who vanished without warning. So when days passed without contact, people noticed. But not with panic. With confusion. Because nothing looked wrong. Her home showed no signs of struggle. No forced entry. No broken furniture. No blood. Her belongings were still there. Her routines appeared paused, not destroyed. And that's the detail that delayed everything, because violent crimes usually leave chaos behind. This didn't, which raised the first quiet question investigators struggled with. If something terrible happened here, why didn't it leave a mark? As suspicion quietly formed, police began searching areas connected to Curly, remote land, quiet stretches, places where someone could move unnoticed. They brought in dogs. They surveyed the terrain. They dug where logic suggested a body might be hidden. And every time, the result was the same. Nothing. No remains. No disturbed ground that conclusively pointed to burial. No physical evidence tying Curly to a crime. With each failed search, certainty weakened. Without a body, there was no homicide case. Without a homicide, suspicion softened into speculation. Even investigators who felt something was wrong were forced to confront the reality that intuition isn't evidence. And slowly the case began to drift toward an uncomfortable possibility that Mary Jane might have left voluntarily, or that her disappearance might never be fully explained. Cases like this fade quietly, not because the truth is solved, but because there's nothing left to chase. Weeks passed. Then something small happened. Not dramatic. Not urgent. Not enough to trigger alarms on its own. A patch of ground appeared disturbed. Loose soil. Uneven texture. Subtle enough that most people would walk past it without a second glance. At first, it was dismissed. Weather changes soil, animals dig. Nature doesn't need human permission to rearrange land. But something about this patch was different. Because whatever caused it kept coming back. Again. And again. And again. Always the same location. Neighbors noticed. They mentioned it casually, almost apologetically, as if they were embarrassed to bring attention to something so minor. Police were informed, and initially nothing happened. Because investigations don't reopen over vague observations. But the question lingered quietly beneath the surface. If nothing was buried there, why did something refuse to leave that ground alone? Eventually, curiosity overcame dismissal. Investigators returned to the site. Not convinced, just cautious. They examined the soil more closely this time. It wasn't just disturbed. It was disturbed then reset. That distinction matters. Nature scatters. Humans conceal. The soil had been loosened, then carefully smoothed over. The kind of work that suggests intention, not accident. And for the first time, the case shifted. Because now, there was a contradiction. If Mary Jane had disappeared voluntarily, why was there a patch of land that behaved like it was hiding something? They began digging. Slowly. Deliberately. Without expectation. And then they found it. Fabric. Bone. Human remains. Mary Jane Fonda hadn't gone anywhere. She hadn't vanished. She had been placed. Buried. Hidden beneath the assumption that no one would look twice. And suddenly, Paul Curley's offhand joke stopped sounding like humor. With the body recovered, the investigation accelerated rapidly. Curley had killed her, transported her body, selected a burial site he believed was safe, remote enough to avoid attention, ordinary enough to blend into the environment. And for a time, his confidence wasn't misplaced. Police had searched. Police had left. No body meant no proof. But something had disrupted his plan, something he never accounted for. Only after everything was reconstructed did investigators understand what truly betrayed him. It wasn't surveillance footage. It wasn't a witness. It wasn't advanced forensic science. It was behavior, instinct, memory that doesn't obey logic. Curley owned a cat. Animals don't understand lies. They don't rationalize absence. They respond to scent, familiarity, and disturbance. The cat kept returning to the burial site. Not because it wanted to reveal a crime, but because something there felt wrong. Something familiar had been removed from the world above ground and placed where it didn't belong. And because of that instinct, repeated, persistent, impossible to ignore, a grave that should have remained hidden was exposed. Paul Curley believed planning would protect him. He believed silence meant safety. He believed that if he erased every visible trace, the truth would fade with time. But the most disturbing part of this case isn't that an animal exposed a body. It's that without that single irrational behavior, this murder might never have been proven at all. Which leaves behind an unsettling question. How many crimes aren't unsolved because killers are smarter, but because no one noticed the smallest detail, refusing to stay silent? Some mysteries aren't solved by brilliance. They're solved by persistence, by patterns that don't make sense until it's too late to ignore them. And sometimes, by the one witness that never learned how to lie. Paul Curley believed planning would protect him. He believed silence meant safety. But the most disturbing part of this case isn't that an animal revealed a grave. It's that without it, this murder might never have been proven at all. If you stay to the end, you understand what Mystery Vault is. These aren't stories that hand you answers. They're stories that make certainty dangerous. Subscribe if you want true crime that waits until the truth has nowhere left to hide.